Welcome to STARCARD Podcast. Here at STARCARD Podcast, we get a glimpse at the age of Aquarius ahead of us. My name is Breakaway Ray. I like talking about the breakaway civilizations because we're breaking away from the one we're in now. I invite everyone to pay attention to whatever they're paying attention to. All right, so the first book I want to show you is from 1994, I think. It's a book about, I'll just show you the book real quick. It's called Gods and Pharaohs from Egyptian Mythology. Now, this book is from the days before self-publication. And the other book I'm going to show you is also before the days of self-publication. So what I mean by that is there's a lot of people that there was like a full-on community that had to decide what goes in the book, what gets printed, the publisher, the editor, the censor, the lawyers, the printing press people, however you used to work back in the 90s, okay? They all had to make a decision about what goes in this book. Now, I was teaching sixth grade at the time. I was a sixth grade teacher at summer school in the 1990s, but also during the regular school year, I taught what's called a 5-6 combination class. It means I had a class where there were fifth and sixth graders together because in the state of California, we rank at the bottom of the 50 states in per pupil spending on education, sadly. So they couldn't afford enough teachers. So they crammed 36 kids in a room. And it so happened that I got the class with fifth and sixth graders combined. So I have to teach 2 curricula, right? I actually enjoyed my time teaching combination classes. I'm trying really hard to stay focused here and not get into the workplace politics part of it. But I did enjoy teaching, elementary school. I did enjoy teaching the combination classes. I found them, intellectually invigorating, even though it was extremely time consuming. And for the times that I was teaching the combination class, I wasn't getting any extra money. So anyway, they didn't give me any stipend until later on. Anyway, again, back to the book, right? So I was sad when I was no longer able to teach sixth grade. I like sixth graders and I like teaching about ancient civilizations. What a surprise. In the 1990s, I'm a kid fresh out of college. I'm in my mid-20s and I'm teaching about ancient civilizations. That appealed to me even in high school when I discovered the ancient civilization of Phoenicia, spelled Phoenicia. Phoenicia used to be where the country of Lebanon is now, and it's barely in any social studies books. And it's pretty remarkable because they were around for a long time. And as we talked about here at STARCARD Podcast, they gave Rome a run for its money. I told you about the war with Rome, starring Hannibal, the great Carthaginian general. Hannibal, he's the guy that went from the Iberian Peninsula with a bunch of elephants, 80 of them, crossed the Alps into Italy, still had 3 left and eventually just 1. And then he roamed and ravaged the Roman countryside until Rome finally got smart and said, we need to go invade Carthage to get Hannibal to leave Italy. Anyway, you should learn more about the Punic Wars. I recommend you read the book by Livy about it. It was very fun for me to read. I know it sounds like it's not this. I can't be possibly talking about a book that's 2,000 years old, having a lot of fun. But yeah, Livy's book was fun and easy to read. And I don't even like war. I just like how Hannibal outwitted everybody. Pretty remarkable. So anyway, back to teaching sixth grade. I'm kind of glad now in retrospect that I got moved out of sixth grade and I'm not teaching ancient civilization anymore, because when I show you this book, I'm imagining in the future, like when I pass away and I go to the spirit world, and what if I had still taught sixth grade? I would be so upset with my spirit team. I would be all like, yo, you let me teach this stuff for decade after decade after decade. This is all garbage. Anyway, let's take a look at the book that I call garbage. I'm getting ready to throw this book out, but you got to check this out. It's a beautiful book. One thing I want to mention before we go to the book is that it's a book about gods and pharaohs in Egyptian mythology. If you're watching the STARCARD Podcast, I'm not the only fringe podcast that you watch, and you probably know about something called Project IBIS, IBIS. It's not in any history books, right? You have to be up to date with secret space program experiencers to know about Project IBIS. And Project IBIS was a way to take the essence, the spirits, the consciousness of Egyptian gods, beings from what we call Egyptian mythology, and then privatize them were part of Project Ibis, and they relate that they are actually some kind of an Egyptian mythological creature, an Egyptian deity. And you know what? We won't find those. We won't find those hijacked Egyptian beings in this book. They are not in this book. They're not in any Egyptology book, right? Again, it's hidden knowledge. Our theme today. Let's go downstairs and check out this book because there's some cool parts in it. Great. I mean, it is a very beautiful book. Very beautiful. Yeah, here you go. You see that the pharaoh there has the double crown. It's supposed to unite the upper and lower parts of Egypt. From the 1990s. What a beautiful book, especially for upper elementary school children. This is a book to learn from. You got great illustrations, intriguing illustrations, and then, you know, just enough reading where you can learn something. So we're gonna come back to this part in a minute. Yeah, check it out. This is what they say. Something happened in their Egyptian story. I'm not too fussy about it. Right? There's a lion. Okay. Here's the conflict of Horus and Seth. All right, those guys didn't get along. Here is the 7-year famine. Wow, a lot of interesting stuff in here. Okay, here we have a color photo. Looks like an Egyptian beating a slave. I'm sorry to say, that's not nice. This looks like someone. Is that the Sphinx's head? Look at how high the sand is. All right, and more fun pictures. Okay, so there you go. It's a great book. And then, you know, I flagged this page, the Book of Thoth. I had intended to read more about that, but hasn't happened yet. Before I check this book, I'm going to read it, though. So let's go back to this picture. I love this. Okay, so they're showing you the traditional story of how Egyptian administration had slaves build their pyramids. And they were slogging them through the sand on sleds. And it was not fun. I mean, at no point does it sound fun to work in a desert building a pyramid. Now, of course, I don't believe that this is the way it happened at all. I do not believe this story at all. And I am relieved that I did not teach this for more than 30 years. Nevertheless, let's get this on the internet. You guys got to see this. This is in the 1990s. I got to read you this part in the book here. It says, it is wrong to think that the pyramids were built by gangs of slaves toiling under the lash. The main workforce was the agricultural population who had nothing to do for 3 to 4 months of every year while the fields were flooded. As many as 100,000 men may work together to move vast quantities of stone and build a pyramid for their divine king. So really, you had farmers who somehow found leisure time, 3 months of it. That's a tough. I'm not a farmer, although my grandfather had a farm and a garden, and he tended to it every single day. So it's hard for me to believe that you had an agricultural population that found they didn't have a lot to do, and they had nothing to do or very little to do. And the best thing that they could think of was, let's shove big blocks around for our king and build him a giant coffin, a giant burial pyramid. Okay, and I don't believe that they ever actually found any pharaohs buried in these pyramids. The pyramids were not burial spots for their pharaohs. You went to the Valley of the Kings and Queens on the other side of the Nile River. I don't know if Giza, I don't know which side Giza is on, but I know that on the west side of the river, that's where you had the Valley of the Kings and the Valley of the Queens, and that's where the dead went. Okay, so wait, we're not done. Yeah, look at that. They took the slave story out and they said all these guys wanted to do it. And this would be a contrast, by the way, with the story of ancient Greece, because in ancient Greece, I believe the word for school comes from the Greek word leisure. So when those Greek guys had free time, they instead studied. But I guess these people in Egypt, they're farmers. They just want to shove blocks around for their king. Here's where I'm starting. Hidden knowledge. You know, you're not going to find those privatized, militarized spirits of Egyptian deities in this book. Okay, just like the poem by Robert Frost, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. Okay, that's been taken away from us also. Okay, we're not going to know about that in a couple of decades. No one's going to remember that poem probably because they're saving it for mind control. So says Breakaway Ray. All right, I got some more funny business here. All right, this is awesome. This book is from 2005, I believe. A Short History of Nearly Everything. A Short History of Nearly Everything. Yeah, they left some things out. I'm about to tell you what they are. But first, I want to show you how awesome some of these photographs are. And again, this is a publishing house that put this book out. This is not self-published. So in a book like this, okay, when you're claiming to present the history of everything, there's a lot of people involved. There's a full-on community deciding, you know, besides Bill Bryson, what goes in that book. So I want to show you a couple of fun pictures. You can see I've got Post-it notes everywhere from, you know, the days of when I would show these to students. So I don't know. I would show this to the class, this picture here. And I'd invite the class to guess what it was. And I'll give you a moment to think about it. Okay. So guess what? This is a refrigerator graveyard. Refrigerators use refrigerants with chemical compounds that are so dangerous that they need to be disposed of in a different way. And it looks like they stack them up really tall here. Let me see if I've got a little caption to tell about that. So that's kind of like a remarkable picture if you've never seen or even heard about that before. Opposite, discarded refrigerators waiting for the CFCs in their cooling systems to be removed. Oh, here's another picture. Class really enjoyed. You can see the penguins down there in the left center. You know, this is down in Antarctica. Look at that beautiful ice. Hey, Earth, you're a beautiful planet, Earth. Wow, beautiful. Sorry about the mess, Earth. I just got here, but I'm trying to help clean it up. We're going to get down to my favorite part, and I'm going to talk about hidden planets. And if you would like to know more about hidden planets, in the description, I have a link to David Sereda's presentation on Carrie Cassidy's show. And he discusses all the planets that we don't learn about in school. So this is a beautiful picture. It's an artist's rendition. It's an artist's rendition of the surface of planet Pluto looking at its moon, Charon, C-H-A-R-O-N. And you can see Pluto is just an icy rock here. But I have a couple of suspicions about planet Pluto. I suspect that planet Pluto is a lot like what we call the Earth's moon and a lot like the planet Mercury. It's probably like the moon Mimas, M-I-M-A-S, which is out by planet Saturn. All of these, they all look like, you know, rocky, icy worlds with nothing inhabiting them or what have you. But on the inside, they're totally different. And another thing I'm learning from Secret Space Program experiencers, which I've talked about on other podcasts, including the Typical Skeptic podcast, is that out on planet Pluto, they have a giant cyborg factory. And you really, you know, you're hoping if you have the cyborg factory or you're trying to keep that stuff quiet, you're hoping that people like me don't teach about planet Pluto because you don't want kids using their imagination and remote viewing planet Pluto. Think about all the planets that we don't know about, and so we don't think about, and so we don't travel to them when we're doing astral traveling, when we're dreaming, for example. So I want to read to you. This book was published before they excused planet Pluto from being a planet, and they're calling it a dwarf planet now. And I want you to check out what Bill Bryson had to say about planet Pluto. Here we go. The moon Charon, as it might appear from the surface of its mother planet, Pluto. The discovery of Charon in 1978 meant that Pluto was much smaller than previously supposed, smaller even than our own moon, and arguably not a planet at all, but merely the largest of a body of orbiting dark objects in a zone known as the Kuiper Belt. Okay, so even Bill Bryson is being dismissive of Pluto. I'm not saying he's doing it consciously or deliberately. Well, let's show you the better picture. I'm not saying he's doing it consciously or deliberately. I didn't deliberately, you know, teach the wrong things about Egypt for 4 years to children and confuse them, okay? I think that the information Mr. Bill Bryson got is what he's presenting. But you know what else I got on my mind? We're trying really hard to forget about planet Pluto. And you know what else? We're forgetting about planet Ceres. It's not even in any of our science books. We never talk about planet series, but we knew about planet series more than 100 years ago. You can look it up, and it's been taken away from us. Planet Pluto, by the way, David Sereda says in another interview, I don't know if it's the one that I linked, David Sereda says that planet Pluto and planet Ceres are indeed planets. David Sereda says that these two are planets. But you know what else? There's another planet that we don't talk about, okay? That would be planet Vesta. Planet Vesta is also near planet Ceres out in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. And planet Vesta is entirely owned by off-world Germans. And the only way you can know about that is if you follow secret space program experiencers like John Whitberg. Yo, I'm Breakaway Ray, and I'm asking the question, is anyone paying attention to John Whitberg? Okay, that guy's got a lot of great information. Hey, you know what? You should pay attention to David Sereda also, because he tells us about planet Vulcan. Planet Vulcan is closer to the sun than planet Mercury, and it's inhabited. And I'm gonna leave that alone because there's not standardized information about planet Vulcan. And you know what else we're not mentioning? We're not mentioning planet Centurion. None of this stuff is in the book I just showed you or in any of the books I taught for several decades, except for planet Pluto over here, okay? Planet Centurion is a planet, a Dyson sphere in the Alpha Centauri system, which is 4.3 light years from Earth. And it is also a German homeworld. And so how would I know about some of this stuff? Well, I do pay attention to Secret Space Program testimony, and I have put it in a book linked in the description. Let's Go Off Planet with Breakaway Ray. And I did find my copy of Ceres Colony Cavalier by Tony Rodrigues. Here's a good way to learn about planet Ceres. Good work, Mr. Rodrigues. Okay, so I want to go and ask the tarot world about this hidden knowledge situation. We know about hidden knowledge. It's as old as humans are themselves, right? We know about the destruction of the Library of Alexandria in Egypt. We know about something called the Dark Ages, when people basically didn't read or write. Apparently, we don't know enough about it because the calendars got all skewed. So anyway, I'm going to ask the tarot world. Yeah, these are all the ghosts of planets we don't talk about here. Okay, give us a timeline, the status of hidden knowledge in the past, the status of hidden knowledge in the present, and the status of hidden knowledge in the future. Now, we're hoping that there's some kind of improvement regarding hidden knowledge, but there's still going to be, I don't like that light in my face. There's still going to be hidden knowledge. There's a lot of stuff that's militarized and privatized, and we don't get to study it. We don't get to tinker with it. We're not supposed to know about it. I'm talking about things like weather control and microwave technology. We're letting some people do it just because they got $1 and they want to control it and manipulate it and keep it secret. But I don't know if these people are behaving in an ethical manner, especially with weather control, for example. Got a link about that in the description you can check out. So let's clean up the tarot table here and hear from the tarot world about hidden knowledge. We're hoping that there's going to be some kind of improvement, but you know what? There's always going to be something hidden unless we ask about it. One of my friends mentioned something a long, long time ago, which I always repeat. The answer is always no unless you ask. Let's ask the tarot world about hidden knowledge. Let's go back down to the tarot camp. All right, tarot world. We are giving you this. We invite you to tell us more about hidden knowledge. You've helped reveal a lot of knowledge just from your cards. Maybe you could tell us more about hidden knowledge all around us, because things are changing. Besides the internet, there's a lot of knowledge we can access just from going within and organizing our consciousness and paying attention to our pineal gland. Yeah, you have one. You got a third eye, everybody. I know you can't see it, but it's there. All right. Please show us what we need to see. Please tell us what we need to hear about hidden knowledge, the status of hidden knowledge, past, present, and future. Thank you, Tarot World. These cards are about hidden knowledge. Hidden knowledge, past, present, and future. These two together? Okay. Hidden knowledge, past, present, and future. Thank you. Please show us what we need to see. Please tell us what we need to hear. Hidden knowledge, past, present, and future. Really? Okay. And now for the future. Past, present, and future, please. All right. This is for entertainment purposes only. Let's hear from the tarot world about hidden knowledge, past, present, and future. In the past, Ten of Wands, it was probably a lot of work, a great burden to have knowledge and to acquire it and pass it on. The Knight of Cups shows that there's a knight in shining armor. So perhaps, we talk about how the monasteries, all the monks would sit there and copy books and pass knowledge on. There were some other Knights of Cups, other knights in shining armor, as it were. The Arabs who rescued math and returned it to Europe. We learn a lot of math from the Arabs, 1500s, waking up out of the Dark Ages into the Renaissance. That's just one example. Okay, you have another knight here. This is the Knight of Swords. A Knight of Swords is ambitious, action-oriented, driven to succeed, fast-thinking, and defending beliefs. That really does sound like someone who's almost like a hierophant. He's collecting, acquiring, transmitting, passing on, preserving knowledge. Wow. And then the Lover's card up. The Lover's card talks about the strength of two together. And in Breakaway Ray's world, the Lover's card talks about the spirit world guiding and protecting and being right there with you. So, there was some hidden knowledge that was passed on by people who could read and write, and they were being divinely protected. Even though they couldn't use the knowledge, they couldn't disseminate it to the rest of us, they were being protected because they were preserving it. Great. All right, that's the past. What's going on right now in 2025? Another knight. Look at that. That's three knights, everybody. The Knight of Pentacles, hard work, productivity, routine, conservation, efficiency, and responsibility. Well, if you want to deal with hidden knowledge now, if you want it in your hands, you got to do a lot of work and you got to be efficient and systematic. That's what I'm trying to do here at this podcast. And there's a lot of people out there like me organizing information and presenting it to anyone who clicks on their podcasts. Great. This is 2025. Here's my friend, the Three of Wands again, talking about luck is where preparation meets opportunity. If we keep on uncovering things, it's going to be harder for them to keep them covered. So if we keep learning and discussing things that they don't want us to know about, eventually they can't tell us to stop talking about it unless they take away all of our freedom of speech and take drastic measures. So even in the present, it's a challenge. It's going to take work. It's going to take professionalism. It's going to take foresight and planning and dedication. And then the King of Wands says, we'll get the big picture. And the King of Wands also talks about being a natural leader, a visionary, an entrepreneur, overcoming challenges. Well, you know what? If you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to overcome the challenge of hidden technology. Would you like to learn more about hidden technology? Go to the description. Again, you're working really hard at it. You're being systematic. And then eventually you might be able to cash in on some of this hidden knowledge. That's what Chris O'Connor is doing with his Deems device. Okay. He's remembered and he's sharing with the rest of us some secret space program technology that helps make people feel better. Trying to choose my words carefully here. Ouch. The Three of Swords. It's not going to be easy to get things that are trademarked and proprietary knowledge and technology. It's not going to be easy to get it to be released to all of us because basically people still consider us cattle still, down here on surface planet Earth. We're much more than cattle. We need to wake up. And then how you like that? The Two of Wands shows up and the Two of Wands says, the universe likes your plan. You have the green light, go. So, hey, you want to seek out, address, and share hidden knowledge? Work at it. You might be able to cash in on some of this technology and a way to change your life and to change society around you. It's not going to be easy. Change always hurts. But the universe, again, has got your back. It says you have a good plan. You should go for it. All right, great. What's going to happen in the future? Let's find out. The Page of Pentacles. Look, we started with a Knight of Pentacles here. That's our third knight. And now the Page of Pentacles says we get a new opportunity, a new financial opportunity, a new project in the future. Okay, here's my friend, the Queen of Wands. She's the zest for life lady, and she says, go for it. Now that you got this new world, let the old world go. The new world's going to be so much fun. How many times have you gotten to an amusement park, gone straight in and said, wow, I never want to leave. This is so exciting. Okay, and then look at that. In the future, the Page of Cups shows up and says, you're going to have a happy surprise. And, and the Two of Cups says, this is a message from the tarot world, everybody. All right. Good news. Hidden knowledge is only as hidden as we let it be hidden. And here at StarCard Podcast, there ain't no hidden knowledge.